Oh my,
I'm
I
gonna
do like a, I do like a revision. It's like it's like there's a review that is happening in front of my eye or
Mhm.
in my mind, whatever, my third eye, whatever, of what it is that I did that brought me here.
Yeah. Yeah.
What it is that I did that brought me here. And then the spirit will tell you how to do it otherwise.
Mhm.
It will. Oh God, am I explaining this right? I can.
No, this is your process, Marjorie. It's right for
Um,
you, and it's right for me. It may be right for other people as well. What I can say for to all the things that we've said so far is this: we are going to be talking. We've been talking about the resistance and then the adversary now for a few several classes now. And I'm going to try to put everything in perspective and talk about also the Guardian Alliance of Light and their technology to initiate an ascension wave. Now, one of the things that my teacher, Dr. Joshua David Stone, understood and did right was that he realized that ascension by himself would have been much more complicated alone. The lone wolf will not fare well against all of the onslaught of changes that are coming in. And he ascended around the harmonic convergence when there was a beneficial energy that was supporting um, uh, grace and divine dispensation. So, what he understood is that if he walks in lockstep with the core group, a better chance of all of them making it together. If you all remember, for those of you who've been with me for a long time, when I started teaching this in 2009, 2010, I did an experiment on trying to create an ascension wave where I was teaching the Melchizedek teaching to try to help people elevate and become ascended. And I used to do these group calls, and I had over 30 some people that were involved, but it led to nowhere. Part of it also, it's because I was going through my own challenges, my own level of maturity. Maybe I didn't have the maturity enough to actually move in a steady pace. But I do believe if I had the right surrounding, I would have made it all the way through. The point is that you're as long as your weakest link. And when you have people who have other agendas that didn't do all this emotional intelligence work, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, you have people who are not prepared to do the deep inner work to lead into a true elevation of consciousness. Giving the state of the world today, giving all the changes that are about to happen, and all of the rapid deterioration in regular institution around the world, the planet is in dire need of true leaders, true ascended leaders. And who are the volunteer? We are. We are the volunteer to do this. And I'm to the best of my ability, I'll try to bring forth the understanding that I know, and I'm going to go back to and we were talking about challenges that happened over the past years and all that, and how Marjorie was saying that the challenges are so overwhelming at times that even your ability to pray is curtailed. And it's absolutely correct. That you're so paralyzed and so emotionally overwhelmed that all the techniques and all the stuff that I've been channeling for all of these years that I've been teaching. Do you know, in some instances, I had to review some of the mechanic by listening to my own recording because I forgot how to do them, because I got so emotionally overwhelmed. And and I'm using myself as an example because I want you to understand when you're feeling this way, you're not alone. And I had in multiple cases go back over my own notes and things that I've written down in my own prayer and say, oh my God, let me do this prayer. This is, how do you do this again? It's like you have an amnesia that takes away your will and your volition out and begin to slowly erase what you're capable of doing. And then you're struggling, you know, and emotionally, you're like, well, if I were to do this breathing exercise or that particular meditation and that particular practice, I could feel better, but you don't have the will and the strength to even do it. So indeed, and we talked about the three separate resisting forces or fallen intelligences that are responsible for this. The first are the archons, and we talk at length about them. They operate by emotionally working behind the scene. They are puppet masters. They never want to show themselves up openly. They manipulate from the background and they make you feel they trigger your emotion and make it really, really big in a negative way. And whilst they are hiding behind a small percentage of how you may feel or doubts that you may have, they inflate them. And they make you run and react in a way that might be to your detriment, and react and do things that are going to be negatively impacting you. And then it's your responsibility to kind of like slowly walk back and withdraw the sting from them by realizing it's not 100% mine. What percent is mine? What percent is not mine? Now, what's not yours, you can ask Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael to help you remove the influence of the Archon. But what's yours, it's your responsibility to find an appropriate, find the weakness in your spiritual psychology that's causing you to believe in this incorrect reaction. A lot of it has to do with survival. In order for us to survive, we create patchwork, we create band-aids, temporary solution. Over time of using these temporary solution and these band-aid, they become permanent. Things you may have done in your childhood to help you survive, when you're now an adult, you're still reacting as if you were in the crisis in the original trauma. So those are the things that you have to figure out and then find an appropriate reaction now as an adult, as a grown man or woman. What is it that I'm supposed to do that will be an ascended reaction to this emotional trigger, so that back door can be closed once and for all? Now, the adversary, the Satan experience, the kind of Job experience, is very different. It's frontal attack. There is no camouflage. It's frontal attack. You know it because it's in your face. And it's typically dealing with either a loss of identity, a loss of money, a loss of health, a loss of some kind, a big loss. And it's frontal. It's not going to come from behind. It's not going to try to make you believe it's yours, because the Archon cannot create anything, but they can corrupt everything. Whereas Satan is a different energy. Now, the energy of the third tester, which is the energy of Lucifer, that energy is very different. It is, the name means the morning star. It's Venus. It's the planet that the last planet, the last star that is seen before the sunlight rises. And I want to talk about this at a little bit more length today, and then I'm going to switch to the torsion field in the second half and explain how the torsion field is connected to the ascension wave that I'm asking you all, I'm inviting you all to participate in. So it's the morning star. In Greek, it means phosphorus, and phosphorus actually means the light bringer or the dawn bringer. In the Gnostic tradition, he is known as the demiurge or the architect who created our world. Now, I want to differentiate this between them, that concept of king of the world, or they call it in Isaiah, he's called the king of Babylon. I want to differentiate that between the actual creative principle. A demiurge is a pretend god. It's a usurper. It's somebody that pretends that they are the one that created something, when in fact it's not them. And the secret to that world, to the name Lucifer, comes from the light bringer translation. That which brings the light is not the light. Listen carefully to what I'm telling you. And people make mistakes, particularly human beings who are so entrapped by our five senses and the weaknesses that it has in them, by promise of comfort and benefit, etc. We get entrapped because the light bringer also brings gifts. It brings adoration, it brings money, it brings sex, it brings fame, it brings all kinds of things of this world. And we get so entrapped by them that we think that the fame and all of that, that becomes our God. And we fail to see beyond the veil that it is an illusion, a complex and complicated matrix that this fallen celestial has created to entrap us in reverse ascension. So not everything that's shiny is the true light. You have to basically, you know, a lot of people giving mass media and everything else are trying to be famous for doing nothing. They are posting pictures of themselves. They're doing plastic surgery, that to look a certain way. All of them are trapped in the matrix of the light bringer. The demiurge has them. Okay? We have to be very careful because in religious literature, let's say biblical and so on and so forth, none of those details are brought up. The dawn bringer is not the light. And if you believe the dawn bringer is the light, you're stuck. It's a usurper, it's a fake light. It's the beginning of something, but it's not the real thing. So we have to be very careful that we don't fall into this incredible quicksand that can easily derail us and put us in back. And how do we overcome this? And I'm going to quote one sentence from my teacher, Dr. Joshua David Stone. How do we overcome that? You have to have preferences, but not attachments. You have to because we have to exist in the 3D world. We have to clothe ourselves, we have to work, we have to do all the things in this world that everyone has to do. But we have to do it in a way where we are detached from outcome, although we have preferences that things went in a certain way. And when they don't happen in whatever way, we are not devastated and crushed and trying to make a deal with the demiurge to have the thing back and selling our soul to a false god to get what we want. So we have to be very careful on how we approach this. And those are the three testers. I know for a fact for the past 4 years, I've been tested in some very deep and humbling way by all three of them. To one degree or another, by all three of them. And I've learned some deep and profound lessons about myself, my discernment. And here is the thing. Without them or their test, I would not be where I am today. Now, one may think that as disruptive as their presence is and their influence is, that God should eradicate them because God is omnipotent and omniscient, and he should eradicate them from the board altogether, get rid of them. But God has never done that. And that will not happen because they serve a purpose in the economy and the equilibrium of all things. They are there to try to help us learn how to remove our shame and undeservedness. They serve a deep and profound purpose in teaching us. It's like it's like taking bitter medicine. It's very acrid. It's very difficult when we're going through it. But once you pass it, you learn so profoundly about yourself and about what's true and what is not true. So I'm trying to give you the proper perspective. And there was a lot of dogma, and I just wrote a chapter for my new book about this. I just finished it today. We have to stay away from, because the names Satan and Lucifer and all that have certain kind of emotional, religious bias that are projected into it that generate deep fear. So I'm calling them the archons, the first collective, then Satan, the adversary, and Lucifer, the deceiver, as a way to create a different relationship to the test that they're presenting for us, because we're going to have to discuss them, understand them, if we need to overcome their challenges. And if we're afraid to talk about it, we will never be able to walk out of it. I remember in the movie, the Harry Potter series, the Dark Lord name is Voldemort, and the negative protagonist. And in the movie, all the other people were always afraid to name him. They kept saying, "He who shall not be named." And at some point, I forget which one of the teachers said, "You might as well say his name, because he's going to try to kill you one way or another." Name it. Say the name as a way to gain back your power. It's like the N word in certain African American community. A lot of African American people, or saying the N word as a way to claim, because it was used in such negative connotation. Certain people are using it. I don't use it at all, but certain people are using it as a way to claim, to take this thing and take the power back in the name. So I'm saying this because I want you to understand that you need to because if you cannot determine if the test is coming from the archon, the adversary, or the deceiver, you will not be able to know how to what solution set to apply. This is why you need to understand how they operate, how the tests are being presented, and again, find the solution set that is fitting with the collective that you're dealing with at the moment. Any questions or any comments you have so far?
Just a quick question up here. I got the Lucifer and the Satan as the deceiver and adversary. And what was the archon?
Okay, the archons are called by many names. They are often referred to as the inorganic being, Wedico. They have many names, but I'm calling them archon, adversary, the three collective. The first one, archon, adversary, and then the last one, the deceiver. Lucifer, the deceiver.
So there are two adversaries. Okay.
No, there's one adversary.
Archons, and what is Satan? I thought that was the archon.
No. The archons are not the adversary. The archons are the archons.
Okay.
Okay. The adversary is the Satan, or the accuser, and then the deceiver is Lucifer, because Lucifer is creating a world illusion. He's creating a fake world. He's pretending to be God.
Yeah.
To a human being whose negative ego, by giving them gifts.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Just archons are not another name in a category like the other two. I understand.
Okay. Yes. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. I want to switch gear for a moment, and I want to talk about. Last week we talked about the Guardian Alliance of Light and the Torsion Field that they created, and they allowing us to allow me teaching all of you. The 12 nested torsion field that they have created to give us a way to ascend, because ascension is not complicated, at least the first step. Through the technology and the knowledge that the Guardian Alliance of Light brought to my attention, all of us can begin to initiate the first level of ascension. Now, granted, in 2009, 2010, there were lots of subconscious things that I was not prepared to understand, because once the torsion field gets created, it will inflate your energy grid. What do I mean by that? When the Guardian Alliance of Light comes in, the first collective, they move to the bottom of your feet, counter-rotating. They project at the bottom of your feet through your core, removing all fears, and they release all around you a complete torus, which is an energy donut that wraps all around you energetically, and like the magnetosphere of the earth around the central core, and create a field of neutrality. Now, that first field is actually created from fourth dimensional being. The Guardian Alliance of Light is a collective of dimensional elders who are pursuing the Melchizedek path of ascension of neutrality. And so what they're doing when they come in, it may appear when you're seeing initially in your mind's eye, the first collective coming at the bottom of your feet, or feeling the energy counter-rotating at the bottom of your feet, moving upward. It may appear to you initially that you're seeing one energy vortex that's spinning counterclockwise. And I'm recommending now that you do it twice a day. And I think I may have said this last week, morning and night. What happens is that when you sit with it for a moment, because I can do it very quickly in less than a minute, because it's 12 breaths. Let's say I'm rushing. I'm about to leave my house. My car is warming up. I sit in the car while it's warming up, and I create the torsion field around the car, on the vehicle. Okay? I did 12 breaths, and then once that is done, the car is warmed up. There's a little bit of heat because now it's winter, and I get out on the parking spot and I start driving, asking for protection so that everything can be in neutrality, right? So as I do this, what's going to happen is that anything that the torsion field finds, it creates a field of neutrality around it. So however, in the evening or in the morning, whichever the case may be for you, when you have a little bit more time, sit down and when you create the first torsion field, take 3 or 4 or more breaths while seeing the field expanding around you. Let it take shape and acclimate yourself to it. If you do this, you will discover all kinds of details, including, for example, that the energy that comes in is not one energy. It's threaded like a braid it's made up actually of 12 filaments. And each filament is the antakarana, or the core of individuals that are member of the Guardian Alliance of Light, following the path of neutrality, the Melchizedek path of neutrality, that are in the fourth dimension. And they are projecting into you temporarily the neutrality that they know. And they release it all around you as a torsion field. I want you to sit with this one moment and think about what I just said. Now, if you sit quietly with this and see it and understand it, what's going to happen is that when the next torsion field is about to be created, now coming from source, dropping into your core, rotating clockwise this time, so we're doing the opposite way, as it goes in, another 12 collective, 12 member, or in 5D, in the fifth dimension, will now offer their understanding, their antakarana, and their understanding of neutrality. And they will project it into you, that's in 3D, to overlight you and temporarily elevate you into the understanding of neutrality that they know. And they will drop it and it will ground into the floor, into the core of the earth. Now, the way that happened is very interesting because had it not been for all the tests that I went through, I would have never seen this. Because I had problem for years that, I received this in 2008. I had a lot of problems since then to understand how to do it because I couldn't see it. Because the torsion field are nested in my core and one on top of the other, one on top. I never could see how they interlock correctly until this time around as I'm doing it. It was automatic. I sat with the first torsion field. When the second one is coming in, because it's a donut, the donut has an opening in the middle. Sometimes the opening is very tight. In this instance, the donut was very tight. And when the next collective is coming, the second collective is coming in, all of a sudden the donut open and the hole become wider and the other torsion field, the axis of the other torsion field dropped in the middle of the opening and ran into the bottom of my feet and created on top of the first one, a torsion field rotating in the opposite direction. I had never seen this before. And the third one, when it's about to be created, an opening at the bottom of my feet opens, it becomes more space, gets created, and then the third one moves in clockwise, creates a torsion field on top of the other one. And as this happens, when at the very end of the meditation, there's a part after the 12 guardian comes in, there's a line in the meditation, observe the 12 counter rotating axes that are spinning in your core. I could never see it correctly because I wasn't sure how they were interlocking. And this time I can see it clearly. All of them interlock, counter rotating, and I can see it. I'm in it, and I can feel it, and I can see it. And it caused me to have tremendous amount of rest. Because now the fact that I'm seeing it is because I am accepting it. I am yielding into it. Whereas before I was too, I don't know what shame, undeserving. I was not yielding. I was not allowing myself to accept that I was so deserving of such unbelievable blessings. Are we understanding this so far? Do I need to explain how the interlock works in a better way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You talked about the collective of 12.
Yes.
And now, as you're talking, you said that the first collective,
Yes.
they have like a filament of 12.
Yes.
So each collective that come in is 12.
Correct. So by the time all of them are done, since it's 12 collective, you have 144.
Yes, I remember you saying that before. Okay.
Yes.
And
So
that was
in other
useful.
words, when initially you're doing it, particularly when you're doing it fast, you don't see 12. You think it's one filament. But it's like a braid with 12 hair strings. Okay? It looks like it's one, but it's not one.
And Pio, the first one is the fourth dimension.
Yes.
The second one is the fifth dimension. So does that go all the way up to the 15th dimension?
Correct. That's correct. That's correct. And once you're past the 15th dimension, you're in source. You're in the white space.
Beautiful.
Now, keep in mind that since we're crossing dimension, this is a technology to allow us to cross dimension, and we are not really crossing it by ourselves. these collective are coming in to assist us, and they're guiding us through it. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to encounter, as you're doing this, in Buddhism, they call it the Malakala, which are guardians, or what would appear like demons at the gates, to stop intruders from entering in those realms that they feel do not belong. It's the same thing in the gate of church in front of all churches and cathedrals, where you have all these gargoyles, which are really representation of demons that are guarding the gate of the church. It's the same idea. You have these what appear like, so you may end up, it may not appear like demon, it may end up having negative experiences. Like all of a sudden you feel something twitching in your body, or you have a vision of something, a disruptive experience, and you're asking yourself, well, I'm doing, everything is supposed to be neutrality. Why am I feeling this? Well, the Malakala, or the guardian of that gate, is not familiar with you yet. And I'm saying yet, because over time, if you keep doing this, you may experience this for a month or whatever, and it's always the same location. It could be the fifth guardian, or the 7th or 8th guardian, whichever the case may be. And eventually it will disappear. You will not have that problem anymore. But I wanted you to understand that there are experiences that you're going to have that may not seem aligned to collective that are in neutrality. You're going to think to yourself, why am I experiencing something that's making me either jittery or slightly afraid, or I'm wondering, kind of Scooby-Doo with one ear up. What's going on? Why am I experiencing this? If you remain calm and you continue to yield and know that you're in neutrality, it will dissipate. In Tibetan Buddhism, they call these beings the wrathful deities. They are actually Buddhas that are disguised and come in as they show up as demons with multiple heads and wings, trying to scare you, so that if you don't belong, you will not enter that realm, you will not enter that gate. But all in all, if you keep persevering, it will eventually all go away.
It may not come as Buddhas. It depends on your
Yeah.
It depends on your belief.
Yes. And a lot of time for a lot of people, it's not so much as a Buddha or whatever. It comes as a negative experience, something that jarring.
Exactly. That's what's been happening.
As a jarring experience, as something that's like, you're like, why am I experiencing this? I'm the first 3 collective were fine. Why in the 4th collective all of a sudden I'm having this kind of weird experience? But if you keep doing it over time and keep facing it and not be afraid and relax, it will dissipate. It will dissipate. The guardian will get to know you, and when he gets to know you, it will, because the demon or the Buddha in disguise or the gargoyle are just allegories and euphemism that are used to describe an emotional state, a fearful state. Because what you're doing is that you're crossing dimension, you're breaking a glass ceiling, you're breaking a zerapin. And every time you break a zerapin, there is a dweller that's trying to hold you back. There is a test.
Yeah, another thing that I don't know if you're gonna get to that. Another thing that was discussed this morning, it's when Lisa was saying that she was trying to do the Thousand Trail, and all emotional issues were coming up as she was doing it.
Yes.
So that's another, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you explain.
Okay, so what happens is that many of you will not have that experience because you've been working so diligently on your emotional intelligence and your social intelligence and your spiritual intelligence. You have tamed quite a bit of your internal stuff. It is much, see, when you open yourself up to the torsion and you're doing it, the suppressed and repressed stuff in your subconscious mind get pushed out. They become just as big as your energy gets, because your energy begins to expand into your neighbors. It begins to expand down the block. The next thing you know, the whole city is enveloped every time you do the torsion field. So if you have a lot of trauma, a lot of things that are negative that you have never addressed, they're going to be outside of yourself now. It's like releasing a genie from a bottle. And so often, and I had that experience too, I had to curtail things back, to pull things back, because it was too disruptive and I was too afraid that my negative stuff, because when you're doing the torsion field, you manifest. You manifest. There is no question. But it's not if, you actually manifest. Things happen like this. Good things, for you, for other people, etc. But if you happen to have negative programs that are untamed and unprocessed, then negative stuff is going to start manifesting as well. And she was saying this, that she had to stop it because she realized that her energy was too big and the stuff was being released out, and she has worked. This is like over 10 years ago. She has worked on it. All of us have worked on it. So we are in a better place now to do it, and to do it safely. Now, healing also comes through this. Healing for yourself, and I keep saying all the time, because that torsion field technology exists in everything. It exists around the planet. It exists in the tree, in the plant, in the fruits. It exists in the solar system. It exists in the sun. The sun is a fusion reaction, a nuclear reaction. That's a fusion reaction that's being held together by a magnetic field. And literally, you can see the sun filament. In fact, the ejection of a solar flare is the filament ejecting out from the sun temporarily, breaking and ejecting out, and rejoining again. So it exists everywhere. The universe is a torsion field. The galaxies are torsion field. Everything exists in a torsion field. It's the quantum superposition. That technology is everywhere. So when you align with it and you sit with it quietly, it puts you in resonance with a technology, a baseline that the entire universe operates in. So if you are ill and you have a disease, being in the torsion field is the most beneficial thing that you can do. Because what it will do to you is that it will realign all of your cellular structures. Every item in your body, wherever the disease is, it will realign it to what exists in the blessed field, and that geometry will provide you, because one other thing about neutrality is that it's seeking to restore equilibrium and 0-point energy in everything. So when you bring, for example, when somebody is sick and they have a disease or they have a condition or they have emotional concern, and I'm praying in their behalf, and after I do the torsion field around myself, I see them energetically around me, and I find them, let's say they're here, and I call their name, I feel their energy, and then I create a torsion field around them. And when I do this, that energy will seek and see the imbalance that exists in their body or in their emotional state. And that energy will recalibrate them to bring them to rest and to find healing. Now, what happened though, a lot of time people think that as I do the healing, I get tired. The only thing that I may be exhausted about is the fact that I have to remain neutral in alignment. A lot of time I tell you with clients, I know when I'm not aligned, when I'm doing a healing or a remote or physical hands-on healing for a client, I'm thinking about food. Or I'm judging them. I'm saying, why are they doing this way? Why shouldn't they? The moment I do that, I'm not aligned because I'm not neutral. So when I'm neutral, I am not judging. I'm just being a witness. I don't have any comments. I'm just allowing the celestial energy to move through me. I'm being the conduit for the person who is in such disempowerment that they can't figure out a way to connect. They lost the connection because they exist in separation. I'm just a conduit to allow that energy to flow through me and pass on to them. Again, may the peace and the serenity that I know pass on to you. Right? And as I do this, then suddenly, after a while, the person, the energy, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not curing cancer. I'm not removing. I'm not making people, helping people becoming fertile. I'm not doing all the things that have happened to me miraculously through the healing. I'm not capable. Pierre is not capable of doing any of them. I don't have the knowledge. I don't know how to do any of them. But I know how to hold that torsion field around people. And as I hold them, and the more neutral that I am, the more disconnected I am to outcome. Preferences, but not attachment. I want them to be well, but the universe will figure out a way to create the healing that they need by itself, without me interfering, without me doing anything. I have preference for them to be well, and I'm going to let the universe and God figure out a way to do it. And as I remain in that state and do this, what then happens is that suddenly the healing that they need drops into them. I have to tell you though, me as the healer, I am healed as I'm doing this. I remember one time I had a family that came to me for healing. I thought I was going to do the daughter. I was going to heal the daughter. I was expecting her and her mom to show up. The whole family showed in my apartment, and there were 5 of them. I did the daughter. I did the healing. They were all there. Then the father said, "Do the other son. Do the other brother. Do the and do the mother. And at the end, I had to do a healing for him, and they were back to back after each other. They were in my apartment for over 6 hours, 6.5 hours, almost 7 hours. And they said to me when they were done, the father said to me, "We came for you today. You must be exhausted." I was not exhausted. The sensation in my body was euphoria. Okay? I had done the torsion field so many times around so many different people that that access, the afterglow remained with me for 3 days. When I go up, the next day when I try to do the torsion field, the moment I started it, they're like, "It's already there. You don't have to do it. It's already there." So as I'm giving the healing, I am being healed. So what I'm saying to you is that as you do the torsion field morning and night, or I'm telling you now, giving what I know what's going to happen in the world or what I sense is coming in, do not go out of your house, do not drive, do not go on a plane, on a boat, anywhere without doing the torsion field. It takes less than a minute to do. That's the quick way to do it. 12 breath. Ask for the guardian to give you protection, to give you neutrality around everything. And you're going to be fine. You will be untouched. You will be marked by God, and you will be anointed and untouched. And we need to, and the other benefit as well is that when you do this, you radiate. The torsion field doesn't get created around you only. The field is so big that it radiates out and take and entrain, sometimes for blocks, people all around you. So as you're doing it for your benefit, you're also serving the world. You're being an active, energetic healer and leader as you're doing it for your own benefit. Because suddenly your entire neighborhood will entrain into that frequency. The animals, the plants, everything that exists in your home will begin to entrain in that frequency. I have shared with you when sometime you walk into a place where there's negative energies, okay? Either people were there was fight, there all kinds of things happen. And there are multiple techniques on how to rebalance the energy. Some of them are long and complicated, entire ritual, 3-4 hours. It takes me 12 breaths to clear any space. As long as I'm anchored in the torsion field that I know, all I have to do is just externalize my antakarana with these words. May the and I remember, the torsion field takes you outside of time and space. This is why you don't need to stand to the north or face the east or do whatever. You don't need any of that stuff to do the torsion field. You don't need to light a candle and incense. You don't need any of it because it takes you outside of time and space. So the word that I initiate if I want to clear a room is that I with my hand, I 3 times begone time and space. And as I do space, I see my antakarana moving my core where the torsion field exists in me. It moves out for me. I project it in the middle of the room. And as I see it there, I ask the guardian to create the torsion field in the middle of that space. I see the first guardian, and the torsion field created, second, third, fourth, 5, 6. And when it's done, the whole room is. I had that experience. I was doing a feast for my student. It was a Christmas fall fest, and we were catering it. We went to the venue, and as I went to the venue, I went with my dowsing rod and I tested the place. There was not one positive corner anywhere in the entire room, none, because there were other. It's not the fault of the place was perfectly immaculate and clean. That wasn't the issue. The issue is that because it was a public place where there were multiple energetic things that had been done there before, and it was not sanitized spiritually correctly. It's like the best way to put it is that if you're working in an operating room and you keep operating and dropping, removing organs and all of that, every time the operating room is done, everything is sanitized before the next operation occurs. A lot of places that people rent to do energy work or never sanitize energetically. So when we walk into the room, there was not one positive place. And I didn't want to do what I needed to do in front of the person. I just said to him, can I have a round table? And he went outside. Yeah, I'm going to get in the closet. He went outside, and literally in less than a minute, I did what I needed to do. The room changed, and I took the dowsing rod and I moved around the room. All of them were positive. And he said to me, what did you do? I said, never mind. The room is fine now. There is an endless number of benefit that is connected to the torsion field, not only for your health and for the ability to manifest, and more importantly, your connection to God. Because one of the biggest benefit is that when you do the torsion field, you're done and you're in the 15th dimension. What happened? You go into the white space. You are literally in the blessed field. Sometime I do the torsion field, I go in there and I don't know, I don't have necessarily what I think is an open crisis that I need to talk to God about. And I go in there and I sit, and suddenly, out of nowhere, and as I'm witnessing the 12 counter rotating axes, suddenly I feel a wave of knowing about something that's going on in my life that I need to do right away. In other words, the torsion field will know, once you complete it, it will know parts of your life and that is out of alignment, that needs to be realigned. And since we are masters of self-deceit and we lie to ourselves all the time, it will give you answers to questions you didn't even ask. It will give you way forward to achieve neutrality without you even asking them. I don't know anything greater to initiate and begin the ascension process. Any questions, any comments?
Just a reflection of how you used the torsion field for Monty when he was in critical care in the hospital 6 or 7 years ago when he was going to go in for open heart surgery. I asked you and you kindly cleared the room he was in. Can you imagine the energy that would have been carrying over from many, many people in that critical state? And that was so beneficial for him. And he pulled through.
Yes, yes, you did. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for reminding me of this. A lot of times it's again, everything that I'm able to do or that I appear to be able to do, it's not me. It's the technology. What I am is that I am disciplined and I'm able to do it. Everything else comes from that technology. And it's not even my technology. It belongs to the Guardian Alliance of Light. I'm not smart enough to create something like this. But I listened well and I was able to capture it, to receive it. So I'm encouraging you to become more acquainted and more connected to that energy system and to the way that energy and make it familiar to you. And it will begin to heal a whole bunch of things for you. And don't try to change anyone, do anything for anyone. Don't do the torsion field around people without their consent, although yes, indeed, you can create the torsion field, it will go into your neighbor's house and everything else, but it's a broadcast. People have the right to choose to receive it or not to receive it. Okay? It's a broadcast. But to project, when you say, may the peace and the serenity that I know pass on to someone else, and you project it into somebody, you're not allowed to do this. The law of non-interference. You cannot commingle your energy grid with someone without consent. You have to ask, and they have to give you permission. If they come from me to me for healing, the consent is implied. But like I do prayer requests for people all the time, and a lot of time people ask me, pray for my cousin, my wife, my so and so. I have to always ask. You need to let them know that I'm going to be praying for them, and I need to get their permission. Without their permission, I cannot proceed. Otherwise, I'm not neutral. I've said this before. The best way I can describe this that people can understand is that the effect of commingling your energy grid with someone else is like you're seeing a woman walking down the street, and suddenly, without them giving you agreement, you try to put your hand down up their skirt. It's an intrusion, it's a violation, it's a rape. Energetically. No matter how well-intentioned you are, you cannot do this. And when somebody tells me no, no is a complete sentence for me. You don't need to explain it. I'm halfway down the block turning the other way. Don't explain it to me. No is good enough for me. I'm out. I'm out. So it's important for us to understand this so that we can begin to accept the reasons and the consequences and the responsibility that it takes to be a member of the Guardian Alliance of Light. Because what we are in 3D, remember, the Guardians are 4D and above. In 3D, that collective has not grounded here yet. because the world is too bipolar and people at each other's throat. There are very few people who are not wrong. We, however, through the influence of the torsion field and them overlighting us, we are being trained by this collective in higher dimension to become members of the Guardian Alliance of Light in 3D. Any other questions or comments? I also want to invite you, for those of you, because some of you have been with me for a while, maybe you want to share with the group some experiences that you've had with the torsion field that you may remember that has been beneficial for you, either because I was doing it for you or that you yourself were doing it and it created a benefit for you or for someone in your life.
Here,
Yes.
I certainly have been a beneficiary of it, and I don't know where I would be without you working on me, and now I'm working on myself through the Trojan field, and I certainly appreciate all of the help that I've gotten from this, and I certainly I've been a beneficiary of it. I don't know how to explain the whole thing, but I'm in deep gratitude because and now I'm really becoming to the point where I can feel, as you were saying, the cells, my cells, things healing up in me, and it's only now the complete feeling is my right side. Just a little bit, I feel it that that it is also now beginning to heal up completely. And I would say that it certainly did. It was very beneficial for me when I was going through my divorce and the fear that I had and all of that. And now I'm in peace with all of this. So I just want to testify that it has been really, really beneficial for me. And I do it practically every day. There may be sometimes where I'm rushed or whatever, but I'm certainly more at peace when I do it. And before I go out of the house, even when I'm out of the house and I get in a situation on the train or whatever, particularly when I was going to my office, and it was miraculous because things are just happen. I mean, it's like almost like blinking of your eye, and you don't even expect it, but here it is. So I'm in deep gratitude, and I'm certainly doing the gratitude, all of this stuff. I thank you so much. I don't want to take up too much time. I would. Okay. So thank you.
You're welcome, Bobby. You're welcome. You're welcome. I think of a few instances where there was a major challenge in your care. I can think of one instance where you were supposed to be transferred from New York to Connecticut, and that whole morning when I arrived there was such a dark resistance to you leaving that place. I had to I had to do the torsion field several times, 3 or 4 times,
Yeah,
to have it stick so that you can leave that place.
yes, yes. And when I left the place, I thought I was flying in an airplane,
That's a torsion field. I will do that to you.
but I was in an ambulance.
Yes,
Oh, God.
that the torsion field will do
I
that.
mean, I just, I'm amazed at it, really. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the forces were
Thank
conspiring to keep you there, to hold you there, and I was like, this is not gonna happen. It's not for your benefit, and I'm gonna ask the guardian to help you. And every time I
Yes.
created it, it kind of collapsed. I was like, no, 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 something is wrong. And I did it again. That's why I was standing outside trying to complete what I needed to do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
While you and Esther were talking to the staff and all that, and I was like, let me do what I need to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you.
that was a very powerful
The
example. Yes,
the
go ahead.
resistance was really strong then.
It was incredible.
Oh,
My
yeah.
God.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
It was incredible
Mm,
because I
Well,
did.
I want to say it really was,
Yeah.
but I mean, all of us there, you there, but I said, okay, we're out of here today. I don't know how, but we're out of here. We won't be here after this. We're going.
Mm.
And everything they would come back, and I said, no, no, we going. And even they put down that they were discharging Bobby to the wrong place in the records.
mm,
And and then they wanted you to sign it and the social work to sign it. And when I looked at it, they were all signing it. When I looked at it, I said, no, we're not going here. Because
Thank
they
God
were
you looked.
sending me to one of their other facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, we're not going here. And then they said, well, it's going to take us an hour and a half to redo the record.
Oh my God.
And transportation had been there all morning waiting on them to complete the record. And they said, ma'am, we can't stay here any longer. We're going to need to go. And I said, give me 30 minutes. And I came back. I told those people we had to go. I don't care what they needed to do. We needed to do it. And when she said we needed an hour and a half more, I said, no, we're going to scratch through this. I'm going to initial it and you're going to initial it. And we are leaving out of here. And I went and got the ambulance people. I said, take her out.
Mm. Mm.
And you know, I was praying all the time, but I said, I'm not in charge of this, but I'm going to direct it as I know how to do it.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And I asked for guidance to do it.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And the strength too, because I'll tell you, it was exhausting.
You're the guardian angel.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, all the time, Mark.
Yes.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. And after
Yeah.
finally, when the energy completed, everything was done, and I was like, okay, what I'm doing, what I did, it finally take, and I told both of you, you're gonna leave here today. Don't worry about it. It's done. I'm gonna go. And I
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you text me. It must have been. I was there in the morning. I don't remember 10, 11, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You text me around 4 something or 5 something to tell me that you finally arrived.
That's right. We arrived at 4:30.
Yeah. Just wow. But it's done. It was done. And by
Yeah.
prayer and by the holding on of this energy. And there are so many instances. Why I'm saying this is that in the process of doing this healing, it creates doorways and opening that you thought were not possible. And
Right.
again, because
Yeah.
you're not doing the work. It's not you that's doing it. Through that
Right.
Yeah.
opening and that technology, God has access to everything, and surrender into it. And as Esther was saying, and let
That's
God
the
do it.
song.
Let God do it. You
Exactly.
know what
But
needs to be done, and you're asking God, let God do it.
but also, Pierre, you also have to have a good advocate at your side.
Well,
That
there was no
that
question.
was yeah
There was no
yeah
question.
that will not give up on what they
Yes,
tell them.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's no question about it. Had it not
Yeah
been for Esther, she would not been able to get out. Absolutely.
yeah. Esther is the one.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're the one, Esther.
Their phone dropped out. They're gonna get back in a second. Something happened to the stuff. It closed. Anyway, so this is where we are. This is what we have to understand. So the technology is there. It's an invitation. It is my great hope that you will join me on this ascension wave and this journey, and begin to apply yourself in kind to elevate yourself, because we're doing this as a group. And as a group, we will be able to create a path that's an open, break down the gate faster than if we were to do this individually. Dr. Stone did something similar in the 1980s when he was doing his own group ascension effort. We have to do the same thing. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's take a 5-minute break, and then in the back end, we'll do a torsion field and bring in the Guardian Alliance. We'll do a torsion field and bring the Guardian Alliance of Light. You dropped out, Esther, I
Uh,
realize.
y-
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We were knocked out.
Welcome back. Uh, but as a conclusion, we knew the miraculous thing that this energy can do. And thank you, Esther, for your advocacy for your sister. So that was extraordinary to witness. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, Pierre, that's a moment I went into certainty. I knew,
Yes,
and I just knew that it was going to be okay.
yes, yes. All right. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll do a torsion field, and we'll ask for alignment into the blessed field. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly, and let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And realize that you can perceive 360 degrees all the way around you. Relax your body, your mind, and your entire being. And the guardian alliance of light approach you, offering to gift you their shields of light and protection and a band of neutrality. If you're ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively and let the energy of the first guardian move through the bottom of your feet, coming from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, passing through your core, removing all fears, exiting at the top of your head and projecting into the heavens and into source, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, cascading down from source passing into the center of the donut, dropping into your core, reaching in to the core of the earth, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends as the center of the donut opens wide. A counter-rotating axis comes from the core of the planet, passing through, going upwards into the core, the top of your head, and going into the very center of Source, creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends, and the center of the donut expands, attracting from source a clockwise axis of neutrality from the fourth guardian, cascading down into your core, passing through you, and dropping into the core of the planet, creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The center of the donut extends, attracting from the core of the earth the energy of the fifth guardian, counter-rotating, moving upward, passing through your core, exiting outside of time and space, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian. As the center of the donut expands, this energy drops in, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, and dropping at the bottom of your feet into the core of the planet, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, rotating clockwise as the center of the donut opens, passing through the bottom of your feet, rising higher, exiting outside of your head, and going into source while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the eighth guardian, cascading down while rotating clockwise as the donut opens. It passes from the top of your head and drops at the bottom of your feet and going into the core of the planet while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the ninth guardian, coming from the core of the earth, counter-rotating as the donut extends, the center extends, passing through your core, moving at the top of your head, going into the source, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the 10th guardian, cascading down while rotating clockwise as the center of the donut opens, allowing this to drop into from the top of your head into the bottom of your feet, going to the core of the earth and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis in the core of the earth extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian, passing through your core as the donut extend, counter-rotating, moving through you, going outside of your head and going into source while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and attracts now the energy of the 12th guardian, cascading down while rotating clockwise as the donut opens, It passes into your core from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, dropping into the core of the earth while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Observe the 12 counter-rotating axes that are spinning in your core. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is fear, let me bring harmony. Where there is discord, let me entrain serenity. May the radiation, the attraction, and the generosity that exists in the torsion field alliance of light, the neutrality, the love, and the liberation of this blessed collective healed and repair my entire being and consciousness. And everyone in my circle of influence. May the peace, the serenity, the love, and the neutrality that I know pass on to everyone in my torsion field and in my circle of influence. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Janice. You're welcome.
As many times as I've heard you teach the torsion field, tonight I've understood more about the different aspects, I guess you would say, of it. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I want to thank you all for listening to me tonight, and I deeply appreciate you joining me on this journey and moving together as a collective toward ascension. I'm in deep gratitude for that. If you're listening to us on Patreon, thank you for the support. On YouTube, please subscribe and join us as a community. and share this video, like, and I will talk to you next week. My deepest love to all of you. Oh, by the way, and the other thing I do as well, I count with my fingers. Because a lot of time you get so expanded and you go somewhere else, you forget which God
Yes.
is coming in.
Yeah,
Count with
yeah.
your fingers. Okay?
Oh, and also next Sunday night is Christmas Eve. Are you?
So we will not meet. We will meet in 2 weeks. Okay? We'll meet in 2 weeks.
So New Year's Eve, we are or aren't having a class.
We're not having a class.
Okay, so
We'll
3
see
weeks.
next weekend we will meet the week after. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
And happy New Year to everybody. Happy holidays.
Yes. Yes. Well, many blessings to you. Happy holidays. Hope 2024 brings you all the joy, the happiness, and the ascendance and enlightenment that you need and that you deserve. Blessings to all of you. Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Love you. Love you all.
Love you all.